We're going to use two pillows, fairly firm pillows, and the resistance band and the hand weights. So whatever of those props you want to use, go ahead and get those. Okay, we're ready to go ahead and get started. Let's start with our dynamic warm-up. So we're going to move side to side. We're going to rotate, we're going to side bend. We're just going to move in all different ways here in our dynamic warm-up, whatever it feels like you need. Maybe you have a really stiff hip and you really need to kind of get that hip moving. Maybe it's your knees or your ankles or your shoulders. I'm just going to kind of do a little dynamic warm-up here for maybe about another minute, getting those muscles warmed up, getting those joints moving. Remember during this class, rate of perceived exertion. So 0 would be you just woke up, you're not even out of bed yet. And 10 would be, oh, maybe you're running as fast as you can. So you want to be somewhere around a 5 or a 6, somewhere in the middle, maybe a little closer to running as fast as you can than to laying in bed. If you get too high, then go ahead and stop moving, maybe just kind of move a little bit side to side. And then wait until your rate of perceived exertion or your heart rate comes down and then rejoin. Today in class, we're going to use the weights. We're going to use the resistance band or the stretchy bands, whatever you want to call it. And we're also going to be using a couple of pillows. So I recommend a couple of firm pillows. I have a yoga bolster, which is a substitute for a couple of firm pillows. So whatever you can find in your space. Let's go ahead and come to the center of the mat and shake the legs out. And then we're going to kick the legs forward, maybe 4 or 5 times on each side. Here you're working on balance because you're standing on one leg, and you're also releasing the hamstrings a little bit. Those are the muscles in the back of your upper leg. And I'll do one more to each side, and then I'm going to do kickbacks. So I'm just bending my knee, letting my foot go back in space. Notice I'm not kicking my butt. I'm not trying to kick my butt. That's why I didn't call it butt kicks. So I really think that's a misnomer. So I'm going to stop calling it that. Maybe 2 or 3 more to each side. A lot of us get really tight in the hip crease for those thigh muscles and for those hip flexors. And then come on back to the middle. Take a big breath in, reach your arms up, reach your arms out and around, and then fold forward over your legs, bending those knees if you have tight hamstrings, and then coming back up. And then once again, shake everything out, do a little shimmy here. And then we're going to do our balance work, okay? Things that you can do in your house without props. Maybe you're watching TV, maybe you're brushing your teeth, whatever you want to do, okay? I'm going to stand to the side just to show this first one to the side. Standing with your feet parallel, toes pointing forward, nice and tall. Close your eyes, find your big toe, your pinky toe, and your heels pressing into the mat. So this is a really nice exercise to do. It's almost like doing nothing, but you are doing something. You're finding all of those muscles around the hips that help with your balance. And just stay here for maybe one more breath. And then we're going to lift all 10 toes off the floor. You, of course, would want to do this without shoes on. You can have socks if you have grippers on them, or if your floor isn't slippery, or you could have bare feet. Lift all 10 of those toes off the floor, spread them nice and wide. And then try to press just your big toes down. And then lift your big toes up. Try to press your pinky toes down and keep all of the other toes up. And then lift them up. And we'll do that a couple more times. Press the big toes down. Notice you might feel some engagement in your inner thigh when you press those big toes down. And then when you press your pinky toes down, you might feel the engagement shift a little more to the outside. Let's do that one more time each side. Big toes and pinky toes. And then set all of your toes down. Let's do a couple of ankle squats. And then we're going to lift all 10 toes up. Spread the toes nice and wide, and then press all 10 toes down into the floor. Bend your knees a tiny bit. Press your right heel and your right toes down a little more, and then lift that left foot off the floor. And then place it down. Equal weight on both feet. Now press all 10 toes down. Press down into your left heel, bending that left knee a little more, feeling the glutes engage here on the left side, and then lift that right foot off the floor. And then place it down. You'll notice it's probably harder on one side than the other. So we're going to switch again. And we're going to continue with this, evening it out on both sides, and then shifting the weight into the toes and the heel of the opposite foot, and then lifting, pressing down, trying not to shift your weight or shift your hip out to the side as you lift that foot. So you want to have these glutes nice and engaged first. You'll probably get a little shift, that's fine. And then other sides, and then switching. Let's do this one more time each side. You can do this, like I said, at home, on your own. You can do this every day. It would be really great for you to do every day. Last time. And then go ahead and shake that out. Come to the end of your mat, and we're going to do something that's kind of like a walking meditation. So you're going to look straight forward, peel your right heel off the floor, lifting that foot from the back of the foot to the front until all 5 of those right toes are pressing down, and then push off that right foot and step with that right foot. And now you're going to do the same thing with the other foot, pushing off all 5 of those toes and then stepping. So you're stepping in parallel lines here with your feet. And then once you get to the end of your mat, you can turn around. So really press off those toes, creating a little strength in the foot muscles, in the toe muscles. These are really important muscles for your balance. Big toe to pinky toe. Have them all pressing into the floor before you push off of them to step forward. Push off all 5 to step forward. And you'll notice maybe on one foot you roll to the outer edge or the inner edge. Try not to do that. And we'll spend maybe about another 45 seconds on this. Once again, I sometimes like to use my hands to try to help my toes. I don't know why. You can do whatever you want with your hands. You can mimic a gait pattern. When your right foot comes forward, your left elbow goes back, and vice versa. But try not to lean. And then I'm going to do one more time to the other end of my mat. Notice, are you stepping forward with the same foot every time? Can you switch that up? So challenge your brain a little bit. Really roll off from the back of the foot to the toes, pressing off all 5 toes, and then stepping that foot forward. And then shake that out. Once again, these are all things you can do at home. If you really like to work on your balance work, then do a balance assessment before you do the balance work, and then do the balance assessment afterward. It can be closing your eyes, lifting all 10 toes and setting the toes down, seeing how much you drift. It can be a little assessment where you lift one foot, notice how much you bobble, lift the other foot, and then do your balance work, and then do that again. I really like the lifting the toes and setting the toes down, because there's so many different things that can kind of go on when you do the 1 foot lift. We're going to go ahead and move on to our strength portion of class. So make sure you have your hand weights. I have a lighter set of hand weights right now because my elbow is still really hurting me. So make sure you have the right weights for you today. We're going to do the bicep curl first. And I have the weights at my sides. You have 2 options. You can bicep curl, turning the palms toward the shoulder as you curl up the hip, or you can keep the palms turned in the whole time and do what's called a hammer curl. whatever feels best for you. And we're going to do 10 of those. And then the next exercise we're going to do is a tricep kickback. So we're going to bend the knees and lean forward and bend the elbows up by the rib cage and lengthen the arms and bend. And we're going to do that 10 times. And then we're going to take a little break and we're going to do a modified version of both of those again. So let's go ahead and do the bicep curl. Starting now, doing 10, working at your own pace. I'm exhaling as I curl. And try to just bend as much as you can without letting your elbows lift up and down, okay? So that it's a bicep curl. You're not engaging other muscles to get those weights up a little higher. So elbows stay still. If your weights are too light, you can have your elbows up higher and then bicep curl. Whatever feels best for you today. I'm going to do 4 more, really thinking about moving from the bicep. 2 more. And 1 more. And then we're going to do that bent over tricep extension. So I'm just coming into a little squat. My shins and my upper back are on a similar angle. I'm thinking about reaching my knees and my toes forward. And then I'm going to bend my elbows up near the rib cage. And this time the elbows stay still and you're moving the lower arm to straighten the arm and squeeze those triceps in the back of your arm. And then bends nice and slowly to get some work for those triceps on the way back in. 4 more. 2 more. Last one, and then take a break. This time with the bicep curl, we're going to add a little squat. So we're going to squat down, letting those weights hang down by the sides. And then as you come up, you're going to bicep curl. Then lengthen your arms and squat back down. And we're going to do 10 of those. And on the tricep extension, we're going to leave the arm long. Let's do palms facing forward, and then we're going to press the arms back and forward. So it's a nice small motion. You have a little slight bend in your elbow the whole time. On this one, you really need to keep your belly pulling in. Let's go ahead and get started on those. So we're going to squat down and then come up and bicep curl. You can lengthen the arms and then squat, or you can make it all one movement, lengthening the arms as you squat. Make sure you're paying as much attention to your squat as you are to your bicep curl. We'll turn to the other side. The back of the head stays in line with the upper back. I'm going to do 4 more. Really press your feet into the floor. 2 more. Last one. And then take a break for a moment. And then we're going to do the tricep extension. So I'm going to come into a little mini squat. I'm going to turn palms forward and lengthen those arms back and forward. Notice how small this movement is. And notice my arms aren't changing shape. Keep the back of the head pressing into the air behind you, because a compensation will be head comes forward as arms go back. I'm going to do 4 more, really squeezing those muscles in the upper arm. 2 more. And 1 more. And then take a break, shake it out. We're going to do 1 more set of each of those. You can pick whichever variation felt best for you, okay? I'm going to go ahead and do the squat with the bicep curl, and I'm going to do the bent elbow and tricep extension. You choose which ones you want to do, okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and start with the bicep curl. Remember, the other option for the bicep curl is you're just standing and doing the bicep curl. Keep the back of the head in line with the upper back. Come all the way up, not 90% of the way up, all the way up. Press both feet evenly into the floor. 2 more. Last one. And then we're going to move on to that tricep extension. So we're going to bend the knees into our little mini squat. The knees and the toes are reaching forward. The butt is reaching back. Belly draws in. And we're going to do 10. Remember, your other option is the straight arm variation. Keep that belly drawing in. Keep the ribs closed. Squeeze the tricep at the top. 4 more. 2 more. Last one. And take a break. All right, so that's a little upper body. We're going to move to a little more lower body. You're going to bring the weights out in front of you. I'm just holding them in front of my chest. And find a position where it feels comfortable for you. And we're going to do a step out lunge. So we're going to lunge out with one leg. The knee bends over the toes and the butt goes back. And then we're going to push off that leg to come back up to straight up and down. Stepping out and pressing back up. We're going to do 6 on each side. If this feels too easy for you, you can add a little balance challenge at the end, lifting, keeping your foot lifted off the floor, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. Step out. Really push off that whole foot. Make sure that heel presses into the ground to get that glute to engage. Spine stays long. I'm going to do 2 more. And last one. Then I'm going to move to the other end of my mat. I'm going to do 6 to the other side. Stepping out, the knee bends in line with the toes and come back up. Make sure you protect your knee. Your knee tracks in line with your second toe. It doesn't go outside of your toes or inside of your toes. 3 more. 2 more. Whole foot presses. Last one. And then take a break. Here's where you need to check your rate of perceived exertion. You can tell my heart rate's up a little bit. All right. Now, as long as your rate of perceived exertion isn't above that 6, we're going to move on to a little bit more lower body. So step to one end of your mat. You're going to come down into your squat position. Listen close. You're going to stay in the squat position. You're going to step out with one leg, shift your hip over that leg, and then step over. Step out, step over. So you're staying in line with your leg here as you come over and as you step the other foot over. And we're going to do 2 times to each end of the mat. So 2 whole rounds. Go nice and slowly. Make sure you can really feel all of those muscles in your hips working. For a small, short moment, you're balancing on that one leg when you lift that foot off the floor. I'm going to finish up this round to the other end. And then go ahead and stand up. Once again, check your rate of perceived exertion. Make sure it's not too high. If it is, take a break for a moment until that heart rate comes back down. We're going to do an overhead press. So we're going to move on to some shoulders. And then we're going to hold the weights out in front. And we're going to reach the arms forward like you're serving 2 platters to someone standing right in front of you. So those are the 2 exercises we're going to do. I'm just going to kneel so you can see what my arms are doing. I'm going to start with the weights here. We're going to do 10 of each. If the weights become too heavy, set the weights down. The elbows come lower than the shoulders, but we're not dropping all the way down. Shh. The ribs stay drawing in. Shh. Use your breath to connect that core and press your feet down as your arms reach up. Shh. Shh. I'm going to do 4 more. Shh. Belly draws in. Shh. 2 more. Last one. And then lower down. This one is a reach forward. So you're going to reach forward. My arms are still bent, okay? And my hands are lower than my shoulders. We're just going to do 8 of these, okay? Once again, if the weight's too much, you can set the weight down and create your own resistance. Reach and then bend. When you reach those weights forward, draw your ribs back so you don't lean back. Keep your core connected. Shh. This is 4. Shh. 3. Shh. 2. Shh. Last one. Shh. And then take a break. Okay. We're going to do one more set, and you can choose the overhead press or the reach forward, whichever one you liked better or whichever one you feel like you need more. I'm going to do the overhead press. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Remember, when you do the overhead press, you're pushing those weights into the air. It's not shoulders fly up toward the ears. It's just a nice controlled push and then a nice controlled lower. So you're working in both directions. Both of these exercises require you to use your core and squeeze your glutes. I'm going to do 4 more. 2, 3 more. Almost forgot how to count. And 1 more after this. I can definitely feel this in my biceps more than my shoulders. So it just depends on where you're the weakest. So go ahead and take a break. I'm going to stand back up and we're going to go back to lower body. Now we're going to do some sumo squats. So you're going to stand with your feet nice and wide. So start with your feet about as wide as a yardstick. If you're really petite, maybe your feet are a little closer than that, and your toes are going to be turned out. Once again, you can hold those weights up here on the chest. So I'm not really holding them up with my arms. I'm just holding them in place. And then we're going to bend the knees and try to track those knees over the second toe. If your knees are falling in like mine are, turn your toes in a little bit and then come back up. And we're going to do 10 of these nice and slow. You're going to go down as far as feels comfortable for you and then really press into the inner edge of your foot and the outer edge of your foot and your heel to come up. Down, press down that whole foot, come up. Now, when you come up, make sure you come all the way up, but you're not tucking your butt under. Down and up. I'm going to do 5 more. Show it from this angle. Down, press down to come up. 4 more. We're trying to keep that torso as upright as possible. 3 more. Push with both feet equally. 2 more. And 1 more. And go ahead and take a break. All right. Go ahead and grab some water here. I'm feeling like I need water. My mouth's feeling really dry. Now we're going to go ahead and combo the sumo squat with the overhead press, okay? So we're going to start with the weights here by the shoulders. They can relax on your shoulders if that feels comfortable for you, or you can hold them in front, whatever feels best for you. I'm going to demo it once and then we'll do it together. So I'm in that wide leg position. I want to make sure my feet are turned out appropriately. If you're feeling this in your knees, your feet probably aren't wide enough, okay? So I'm going to squat down, and as I come up, I'm going to press the weights up. Then bend my elbows and squat down again, okay? So that's the move. We're going to do 10 of those. In a controlled manner, we're not rushing. Down. Remember, you're pressing inner edge, outer edge of those feet. You want to get your inner thighs and your side back glutes to work. I like to inhale when I bend and exhale to press up. Press equally into both feet. 4 more. 2 more. The movement's coming from your shoulder. And then take a break. Shake it out. We're going to make our way down to the mat. You can grab a sip of water on your way down. Make sure your weights are near your mat. We're going to come down onto the mat. And you're going to have one weight on each side. Okay, you can hear my breath is still a little labored because those sumo squats at the overhead press get your heart rate up. So let your heart rate come back down. I'm just bringing the knees in to let my low back relax. Let my ribs relax. And then we're going to place those feet down and we're going to do a chest press. You're going to bring your elbows wide. They're angling down toward opposite corners of the room. And then you're going to hold the palms, weights with the palms facing the end of your mat. And we're going to reach those arms up and lower them down. That is the movement. So when you reach up, press those back ribs down. And then when you bend down, keep the back ribs anchored. And we're going to do 10 of these. Think about moving from the center of your chest, not your elbow, not your arm, the center of your chest on both sides. I'm lengthening all the way, but not locking out. 3 more. Control the speed so you get a little more work from these light weights. 2 more. Last one. And then relax for a moment. Okay, we're going to go ahead and reach those arms up into the air above the shoulders. This is going to be a tricep extension. And then you're going to bend your elbows until they're at a 90-degree angle. And then we're going to lengthen and bend, okay? If this doesn't feel good for you, you can do something else. So I have a little elbow tendonitis. This actually feels okay right now. I don't know how it's going to feel later. So we're going to do 10 of these. Reach and bend. Press the ribs down when you reach and keep them pressing down when you bend. Try to keep the elbows still. Squeeze from your tricep, the muscles in the back of your upper arm, not from your elbow, not from your hand. 4 more. 2 more. And last one. And then we're going to hold those arms up there. Palms are facing in. Bend the elbows out to the side. We're going to let the arms reach out to the side until your arms look like they're hugging a giant ball. And then exhale, bring the arms back up, bring the weights together, squeezing from your chest. Let the arms float out, hugging that giant ball. Notice my elbows aren't touching the floor. Hugging the ball, squeezing the ball. Look straight up toward the sky and relax your neck. Make sure those arms are in line with your chest, not your shoulders. 4 more. Last one. And then bend those elbows down. Let's do all of those one more time. Palms face away, elbows angle down toward opposite corners of the room, toward the floor. Lift the elbows off the floor, anchor the ribs, press up. You can bring the weights together in the center if that feels okay for you, and then lower down. Shh. Doing 10 of these. Shh. This is 3. Shh. Press the back ribs down. Draw the belly in. Shh. 3 more. See if you can relax your neck a little more. 1 more. And then we're going to leave the arms up there, turn the palms in, and we're going to do the tricep extension. Bend and straighten. Bend. We're doing 10 of these. Use your core when you straighten those arms. Keep your shoulders nice and wide. 3 more. 2 more. Leave those arms up there, palms face in. Bend the elbows out to the side a little bit. Let the arms slowly drop out. You're hugging that giant ball and then squeezing the ball. Reach it out, squeeze it in. We're just going to do 6 more of these. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, use the muscles in your chest, not your arms, to bring those weights back up and squeeze that imaginary ball. 2 more. Last one. And bring it down. Let's go ahead and set the weights aside. Make sure you have your pillows and your stretchy bands near you. Okay. So I'm going to switch to our Pilates. I have my pillow and my stretchy band. You might not be able to see it, but I have them. And we're going to get a little stretch for those arms. So we're going to reach that right arm out. I'm just doing left because I don't have room for my right. And I'm going to rotate my head to the opposite side. So right now I'm feeling a nice pull in my bicep, in the front of my shoulder, in my chest. 1 more breath. And then you're going to do the opposite side. So my arm is angled down a little bit. It's not angled up toward my ear. It's angled down. Turning the head gently until you feel a little stretch. Think about reaching through the fingertips. And then come on back up. Shake it out. Just shake those arms out. Maybe do a little Michael Phelps. Do a little running man. And then we're going to relax those arms. Let's go ahead and hug the right knee in. Let the left leg lengthen, because sometimes we stress out in our low back doing those weights. Just letting the front of my thigh relax. So that left leg, that left glute, everything is relaxed. And slide that leg in, and then we'll slide the other leg long. I'm trying to relax that leg onto the floor or toward the floor as much as I can. If I pull my knee in too close, then my leg can't relax. So you have to find a place where you're holding your knee, where your leg can relax. Once you're in a couple breaths, maybe you can draw that close leg a little closer to get a little more stretch in the front of that thigh. And then we're going to slide that foot in, and we're going to roll over onto the side and come on up to seated. And we're going to start with our modified roll up. Okay, I'm going to put my prop long ways like this, so it's about as high as 2 dense pillows. So if you don't have a yoga bolster, you can use a couple pillows, but make sure it's pretty firm. Then we're going to take the band and we're going to wrap it behind the rib cage. All right, now I'm going to sit close to the prop, but I'm not touching it. And I'm going to reach my arms out in front. So I have a little tension on the band. So if I press my ribs back, I can feel a little more tension on the band, okay? And we're going to take a breath in, breathe out, draw the belly away from the shirt, and then tuck the tail and roll back, pressing those ribs into the band until you contact that prop, rolling back a little bit more, keeping that tail tucked. And then we're going to exhale breath and come back up using your core. Do that 3 more times. Shh. Once you contact the prop, really use the prop for feedback to help you keep that core drawing in as you roll back a little more, and then come back up. 2 more times. And then we're going to give that a try without the band. So take the band away, reach your arms out in front, take a breath in, breathe out, draw your belly in, tuck your tail, keep drawing that low belly in. You can even put your hand there until you contact that prop, maybe go back a little further, and then exhale breath, use your core to come back up. So it's a little harder without the band. 3 more times. Shh. If you're gripping in your hip crease, you're probably not using your low abdominals enough. 2 more times. Shh. If you're cramping in your calves, lift your toes. And 1 more time. And come on back up. If your prop slid away from you a little bit, like mine did, make sure you bring it back. Now we're going to add to it. You can bring the hands behind the head, or you can stay with the hands reaching forward. Elbows angle forward if your hands are behind your head. Press your head into your hands and your hands into your head. And then we're going to tuck and roll back, contacting that prop. Keep that pressure of the hands into the head. Breathe in. Now, when you come back up, use your core. Don't push with your arms. 3 more. Shh. 2 more. And on the last one, everyone put your hands behind your head. Breathe in, breathe out, roll back. And then we're going to roll all the way down onto that prop to get a little stretch. Bring your elbows away from the floor, lift your head, and then we're going to curl up and come all the way up. We're going to do that 3 more times. Tuck, roll back. Shh. Inhale. Exhale, lift the head with your hands, and then use your core to come back up. This is why it's important to have a pretty firm prop. Shh. Make sure you're not pushing your head forward. 1 more time. Last time, we're going to stay down there. Keep the head on the hands. Let the legs lengthen onto the floor, as long as this feels okay for your low back. And see if you can just wiggle your legs around a little bit to let go of any gripping you're doing in your hip crease, in your thighs, okay? I know I was gripping a little bit at the end there. If this doesn't feel good for you, maybe just lengthen one leg at a time, or scoot your bum away from the prop a little bit more. That will be nicer for your low back. Breathe in, breathe out. 1 more time, breathe in, breathe out. Then we're going to go ahead and bend those knees, elbows angled toward the ceiling, lift the head up, and we're going to rotate the rib cage to the right. Come back to the middle, lower down. Curl up, rotate to the left. I know I said right, I went left, but curl up, rotate. So the prop gives you some feedback about whether you're rotating the rib cage or not. When I rotate, my one side of my rib cage presses into the prop more. Rotate. 2 more sets. Curl up, then rotate. 1 more set. Curl up, then rotate. And then come on back down, take a little stretch. And let's come on off that prop. Now we're going to take the prop and we're going to place it underneath the feet. We'll just put it there for the moment. And then we're going to lie that band crossways on the mat. So we're going to do bridge. Okay, so there's a million different ways you can do each exercise. Make sure that you have about the same amount of slack hanging off your mat on each side. And then you're going to lay down so your ribs are anchoring that band down. So make sure you find a place where you can pull and the band won't move. My feet are on the prop. Now, if this doesn't feel good for you, if your calves start to cramp or something like that, you can leave the prop out, or you can place your feet on the prop, your heels on the front edge of the prop instead. Okay, it really depends on how flexible your ankles are. And we're going to hold the band in line with the bra line, reaching those arms up. And a couple times we're just going to practice exhaling and pressing the ribs down into the band as we reach the arms up a little bit more and relax. Exhale, shh, ribs press into the band. The knuckles reach toward the sky, maybe about another 1/4 of an inch. One more time, shh. And then relax that. This time we're going to press the ribs down, and then we're going to lift up into our bridge, reaching those arms, but we'll keep pressing the band and the ribs together, and then lower down. So you're creating that feedback for your ribs so you don't push your ribs up too much. Shh. We're going to do 4 more of these. Shh. 3 more. Shh. Pushing equally with both feet. 2 more. And last one. And lower down. Relax your arms. Maybe do a little windshield wiper. Now we're going to do a little toe tap. So we're going to bring both ends of the band together and hold the band in the right hand. It's over my bra, it's in line with my bra line, not my shoulder. Make sure you have some tension on it. Now, as I bring my left leg up to tabletop, I'm going to reach the band over and then reach it down. We're going to do that 5 more times. Reach over. Reach. Last one. Now we're going to bring the leg to tabletop and we're going to toe tap it. And when you lift it up, you're going to rotate the bands, the arms, the rib cage, everything rotate. 2 more. Keep tension on that band. Last one. Now we're going to add to it. So bring that leg tabletop. Then you bring the left hand behind the head. And as you bring the leg up, you're going to curl up and rotate. Bring the leg up. And as you lower down, you're going to lower the leg. 2 more. Last one. You can, of course, do regular obliques here if you want. All right, I'm switching the band to my other hand. And I'm going to lift the leg up as I reach the arm across. I'm not moving my spine. I'm not turning my head. I'm just reaching my arm past that knee. One more time after this. But now we're going to bring the leg tabletop, a little more challenging. Each one is a little more challenging. And then we're going to rotate as the leg comes up. And then come back to the middle, the leg goes down, rotate. Two more. Last one. And then we're going to place that right hand behind the head. Keep the head and the hand pressing into each other. We're going to curl up and rotate. And then as we lower down, the foot lowers. Keep pressing the head into the hand gently. Three more. Rotating from that right rib cage. Two more. Last one. And then lower down, release the band, release your arms to the sides, and we'll do bridge again. Take a breath in, breathe out, anchor the ribs down, lift the hips up, and lower down. Breathe in, breathe out. Press both feet equally. With this cushiony surface, you can really feel whether you're pushing with one foot more than the other. Four more. We're lifting and lowering here. If this doesn't feel good for your low back, then you can roll up and roll down. Three more. Make sure you zap those glutes at the top. Last one. And lower down. This time we're going to let that left leg relax onto the prop and then draw the right knee in toward the chest. Breathe in, breathe out. One more breath in and one more breath out. And then we're going to switch sides. And hug the knees in toward the chest. Let's either rock and roll on up to seated or roll over onto the side and come up to seated for a little spinal mobility. You can use the prop to sit on for these if you want. I'll demo that. All right, I'm going to start with a little spinal rotation. So I'm going to hold my arms out to the side. So I have about the same amount of band on both ends. And I'm going to rotate to the right, pulling my right arm back, and rotate to the left, pulling my left arm back. You can turn the palm forward or the palm up or down, whatever feels best for your shoulder. As you pull that arm back, feel the shoulder blade glide toward the spine. Two more to each side. One more. And then we're going to take that band off. We're going to bring it underneath the bum. Make sure you have about the same amount of band hanging off each end. And we're going to do a side bend. So we're going to hold the band in the left arm, and we're going to reach the arm up and down. So just getting a feeling for how much tension this is. If this feels like a lot, then let go to the end of your band a little bit more. That's probably good for me today. So on the last one, we're going to reach it up. We're going to place that right hand onto the floor, and we're going to side bend over to the right. So the band is in my left hand. And then come on back up, lower the arm down. Three more times. Reach, side bend. I'll show what it looks like from the other angle. Reach, and then side bend. So you feel the feedback of the band on your top side. Reach and side bend. Really press those ribs into that band. So let's do the other side. I'm going to reach and bend. So you're moving from the shoulder and the elbow and the hand, not just the hand or the elbow. Good. Make sure it doesn't feel like too much tension. And then on the last one, we'll hold it up there, and we're going to side bend over, pressing those ribs, that chest, whatever's pressing into the band, and come on back up, lower the arm down. A little too much tension for me, so I just creeped my hand up toward the end of the band a little bit, Press your side body into that band. 2 more times. Reach. This feels so yummy for me. I could do this all day long. Nice stretch in the shoulder, in the side body, and then come on back up. We'll do a spine stretch forward. You can stay seated on your prop. Reach the arms out. Take a breath in. If you're seated on the prop, I recommend bending your knees a little bit. Breathe in, breathe out. And roll back up. 3 more. Just kind of flow with it. Don't try to control it too much. But make sure your shoulders aren't earrings. 2 more. And 1 more. So we got that spine moving in all directions. Let's shake out those arms. You can do circles. You can do your little swimming arms, Michael Phelps. Do a couple more side bends without the band. Stretching those obliques. Reach your arms out to the sides. Turn your palms back and bring your fingertips to the floor. If they don't reach, it's fine. You can bring your fingertips together in the back onto your prop, whatever feels best. Or you can come off your prop. And then just inhale. Let the chest float forward and up as you inhale. And then exhale, let it drop down. Breathe into the chest. 1 more time. And then relax it. Shake out those arms. Breathe in, reach your arms up. Rotate your palms. Exhale, press your arms down like you're pushing down into water to lift yourself out of the water. 1 more time. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you feel stronger and more balanced than when you joined me.